All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've been putting off your taxes because the forms feel like navigating an absolute maze, well, you're exactly in the right place. Today, we are cutting straight through all the bureaucratic jargon. We're focusing strictly on the requirements for assessment year 2026-27, and we're going to make the complex process of filing your ITR-2 clear, approachable, and totally actionable. We've got a very clear roadmap for our explainer today. We'll be looking at who exactly needs ITR2, the required documents and prerequisites, navigating those key schedules, the actual online filing workflow, and finally, the common mistakes you definitely want to avoid.
Section 1. Who needs ITR-2? Contrasting eligibility.
So here's the ultimate fork in the road. If you have business or professional income, you can actually stop right here. You're going to need ITR3 or ITR4. But if your money comes from investments or property, think salary earners with capital gains, people with multiple properties, or non-resident Indians, stay right with me. This explainer is custom built for you.
The crucial thing to remember is that if you trigger any of these specific financial events, like selling property or holding overseas assets, ITR2 becomes your mandatory filing path. Pay special attention to a couple of these. Just holding a foreign bank account automatically lands you here. And interestingly enough, if your agricultural income exceeds a mere 5,000 rupees, yep, you're also required to use ITR2.
Section 2. Required documents and prerequisites. Equipping yourself for the portal.
Now, before you even think about logging in, you need to know that failing to link your PAN and Aadhaar will literally lock you out of the process. It makes your PAN inoperative. Hit that wall and you're forced to pay a penalty under Section 234H just to unlock your account and continue. Also, please ensure you've pre-validated at least one bank account. If you skip this, the income tax department literally has nowhere to send your refund.
Gathering these exact documents in advance is honestly your best defense against making critical, headache-inducing errors later on. You'll obviously need your basic Form 16s, but I really want to highlight the Annual Information Statement, or AIS, and your capital gains statements from your brokers. These are the golden documents that ensure what you're reporting matches exactly what the government already knows about your finances. Get this stack completely ready, and the rest is just simple data entry.
Section 3. Navigating the key schedules. Translating the alphabet soup.
I absolutely love this analogy because it instantly shifts your perspective. The ITR2 form is basically like a giant house, and each schedule is just a room. Don't let the 26 different schedules overwhelm you because you don't have to fill out the whole house. You only enter the rooms that match your specific financial situation. You aren't responsible for everything on the portal, just the financial events you actually participated in this year. This quick breakdown demystifies the heavy hitters. You've got Schedule CG for your capital gains and Schedule FA for foreign assets. But notice how Schedule L is strictly triggered the very second your total income crosses that 50 lakh threshold. If you hit that exact number, it becomes absolutely mandatory to disclose all your movable and immovable assets along with your liabilities.
Now, if you trade stocks, you need to pay very close attention to Schedule 112A. Why? Because the portal absolutely requires granular script-wise details for your equity trades. You can't just slap a lump sum profit or loss in there and call it a day. The system demands the specific details of every single transfer.
And for the modern investor out there, the VDA schedule is entirely dedicated to ensuring your crypto and digital asset gains are properly taxed and reported. The tax department has totally modernized right alongside the market. So if you've been transferring Bitcoin, NFTs, or really any other virtual digital assets, this is your designated room in the tax house.
Section 4. The online filing workflow. Step-by-step execution.
Okay, let's talk about the actual clicking and typing on the e-filing portal. Follow this sequence exactly, and you'll keep the whole workflow completely streamlined. Make sure you select Assessment Year 2026-27 right off the bat. Step 4 is where the real heavy lifting happens. Take your time here to meticulously validate the pre-filled data and input those schedules we just talked about. The system is actually designed to guide you nicely, provided you just take it step by step. Listen, this is absolutely crucial. Avoid the Pay Later button unless it is an absolute emergency. It acts as a massive trap that can accumulate unwanted interest on your tax payable. When you reach the computation summary and you see you owe a tax liability, do yourself a major favor and select Pay Now. It redirects you straight to the ePay tax service, keeps your record squeaky clean, and avoids you getting slapped with the label of an assessee in default.
Section 5. Common mistakes to avoid. The final hurdle.
Think about your timeline like this. Keeping your eyes firmly fixed on that July 31, 2026 deadline gives you plenty of time to fix any last-minute discrepancies. Notice how June is dedicated purely to reconciling your AIS and Form 26AS. If you build in that buffer month, I promise you, July will be completely stress-free.
A simple double check of your annual information statement against your return will save you from the vast majority of these extremely common mistakes. People constantly forget to report the little things, like interest from their basic savings accounts and fixed deposits. Or they kind of hope their minor crypto trades will just fly under the radar. They won't. The AIS literally sees all of it. Ensure your filing mirrors that statement perfectly. 30 days. That is the literal ticking clock you have to e-verify your return after submitting it. If you miss this window, your filing is completely invalid. Clicking Submit on the portal is only step one of crossing the finish line. Whether you use an Aadhaar OTP, net banking, or even post a physical ITR-2 all the way to Bengaluru, it absolutely must happen within 30 days. Otherwise, all that hard work is legally erased.
So, before you close that portal tab and celebrate, ask yourself, have you truly accounted for everything? Because the tax department's systems certainly have. This is the ultimate litmus test for a successful ITR-2 filing. Take complete ownership of your financial data, rigorously double-check those schedules, and you'll navigate this assessment year with absolute ease. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy filing!